Evening peeps, good evening everyone. Yes, I am back. I landed a few hours ago from LA, long ass flight, like 10 and a half hours. So I am pretty tired, but I wanted to do this video to recap some of the big fighting news from the weekend. Loads of fights over here and in America. And we might do a separate video as well about AJ signing exclusively with DAZN. That was announced this afternoon. I did a video a couple of days ago talking about it, but it was more a case of it might happen. Now it's been confirmed that it has happened. So I think we'll talk about that because the agreement with DAZN that AJ signed is a bit different from a fighter agreement, and we'll try and unpack what that means. For now, let's talk about some of the fights on the weekend. Obviously, I was in America. I was at the Jaime Munguia fight versus Jimmy Kelly at the Honda Center. And you know, I noticed a few differences between the English fight fans and the Mexican fight fans. I think the biggest one I noticed was how early the American-Mexican fight fans get to the venue. Like when I cover fights over here, unless it's a ridiculously stacked undercard, they're not really getting there until the co-main event. I mean, it'll probably be 50% full at the co-main, and then the main event, it's packed. Over there, I mean, they're there for the undercard. They're there for the undercard, and they really do put on a show. There's a lot of music. There's a guy in the ring, and he's throwing out t-shirts. Very, you know, the way Americans like to jazz things up. But that was interesting. Another thing I noticed as well, and it kind of made me understand now why Mexican fighters are always 100 miles per hour that way. There was a fight. It was the co-main. It was a guy called Oscar Duarte. Never heard of him before. Decent, someone to look out for in the lightweight division. And he was fighting, putting on a bit of a show, 100 miles per hour. I think it was like the 5th round where obviously this guy had, you know, been going and going and going, and he decided to take a breather for about half a minute. The crowd started to jeer. Look, they want action throughout. They're not there for, you know, you to have a little feel out round. They want action, action, action. And it kind of made me understand now why Mexican fighters just give you action. Like literally, they just don't stop, do they? But anyway, back to Jaime Munguia. It was good to see him fight. Good to see the kind of crowd that he can draw. I think there's probably around 10,000 in there. Maybe a bit less than that, actually. Maybe about 8,000, 9,000. But I mean, you look at the opponent. For him to kind of get that number fighting Jimmy Kelly, who I'm guessing a lot of even UK fight fans wouldn't have heard of, it shows the pulling power he's got. This fight was at 165 pounds. He's not moving to super middleweight. It was supposed to be someone else. They couldn't get that person over the line, so they just said, you know, let's just do a fight at a catchweight, just to help, I guess, more Jimmy Kelly than Munguia. The first 3 rounds, I actually gave to Jimmy Kelly. I thought he looked good. Started catching Munguia with some really good shots. Was standing in the pocket. I knew, though, it was inevitable. Everyone knew it was inevitable. I mean, Munguia is 40-0 now for a reason. And as soon as he stood in the pocket for a bit too long, that was that. Munguia just seemed to turn it on and turn his lights out very quickly. Munguia is a very, very good finisher. I'm still not 100% sure about his boxing ability, but in terms of his power, in terms of his work rate, in terms of his finishing ability, he's definitely very, very good. What they need to do now, and I was saying this to Chris Mannix and Sergio Mora, so we kind of closed the show together. We can't accept this level of opponent. And I said it on air, I was like, they can't accept this anymore. Like, you can't be 40-0 and the only names on your record are Liam Smith and Rosado. I mean, he won the belt from Saddam Ali. I don't know if you guys even remember who that was, at 154 pounds. He's obviously moved up from 154 to 160. And this fight on the weekend was officially 168. They can't accept this level of opponent. It's a bit, and I don't think it's this extreme, but it's a bit like Demetrius Andrade. Obviously, he's trying to find someone to fight. He was supposed to fight here. We don't know if they're going to try and revisit that fight, but he can't fight anyone either. There's no, Eddie can't seem to get him a fight, and I think he still has one more fight left with DAZN, and Oscar can't seem to get Jaime Munguia a fight. Put them together. Whether at 160, whether at a catchweight of 164, or at super middleweight, let them fight each other. 2 unbeaten guys. You've got a 2-weight world champion in Demetrius Andrade. You've got Jaime Munguia, who's a 154-pound champion, unbeaten, can draw a good crowd. That would do good numbers. Because Munguia can't keep fighting guys like Jimmy Kelly. I mean, you really can't. You're getting nothing out of that. So, maybe Oscar takes a loss, maybe Eddie takes a loss financially, but they need to get both of these guys fights, and both of them can't secure anyone, fight each other. And they're both with DAZN. Again, I still think that, I could be incorrect here, but I think Andrade's still got one more fight left on his DAZN contract. If he has, they're both with DAZN. I mean, I'm sure Eddie will let him go and fight on a Golden Boy DAZN show, and Munguia will maybe be allowed to fight on a Matchroom DAZN show. Either way, they need to get fights for Munguia, because that level of opponent showed us nothing. Like, they were asking me, is Munguia an elite fighter? And I was like, I kind of don't know. What do you want me to tell you? He's not fought anyone. Again, Liam Smith, but that was a long time ago. He hasn't done anything for years. So it was difficult to know. In America as well, Daniel Dubois versus Trevor Bryan. So much to say about this one. Firstly, I want to say this. BT Sports did an interview with Don King after. Bear in mind, Don King's 90 or 91. He spoke so sharp in that interview. Probably one of the best Don King interviews I've seen in years. He gave praise to Daniel Dubois, and he kind of made a joke about the best thing that Trevor Bryan did was in the weigh-ins, obviously when Trevor Bryan was trying to go Daniel Dubois. Aside from that, it was one-way traffic. It reminded me a bit of when AJ fought Kevin Johnson at the O2. So you got the young, hungry, unbeaten, power-punching guy against the veteran. And to be fair, comparing Trevor Bryan to Kevin Johnson is a bit disrespectful, because Kevin Johnson's a lot better at the time than Trevor Bryan is now. Trevor Bryan was poor, like really poor. So it's weird. I want to give Daniel Dubois so much plaudits, and I'm going to, but it's difficult because I don't even know if Trevor Bryan over here would be an area level champion, let alone a WBA regular heavyweight champion. Daniel Dubois just destroyed him. And you know what I liked about Dubois as well, and I don't know if I've noticed this before, his inside work was good. Like Shane McGuigan, we know, gets his fighters to fight well inside. He's still working on a Coley, that will come. But we could see it, what he's been working on with Daniel Dubois. His inside work was good. That sort of check left hook to finish it was beautiful. It really was beautiful. It didn't even seem as though he put too much power into it. It was just a beautiful connection. So look, Dubois, there's not much more I can say apart from Dubois just destroyed him. I mean, his body work was good. The right hand was landing at will. Literally just beat him up every single round. Bryan did snap his head back with a couple of jabs. That was it. You know what, dude, I don't know if you guys remember, Don King won this fight with a winning bid of something like $3 million. How the hell, let's hope Dubois got a very good lawyer. How do they justify, like, where's this money going to come from? I have no idea. It was on pay-per-view in America. It would have done no numbers, like zero. Remember when Luis Ortiz fought Charles Martin? I think that done 40,000. But everyone knows Luis Ortiz, or every boxing fan knows them. Trevor Bryan, Daniel Dubois. I'd be shocked if this done 10,000 on pay-per-view. You saw the crowd. The crowd was sparse. There was no one there. It probably looked like there might have been a sprinkle of about 2,000 people there. Where on earth is Don King people, going to get $3 million to pay both of these guys? I do not know. But again, I just hope that, and we know the story about Don King, we know the history. I hope that Daniel Dubois can get his money, because I have no idea how this fight generated any more than a few $100,000. I'm being very, very serious. Unless there's some incredible sponsors that are silly that chuck their money at this event, then I don't know what to do. Talking of what to do, I don't know what Daniel Dubois does next. Obviously, he's got this belt. This belt can help him put him in a mandatory position for a belt that's held by Alexander Usyk. He's not ready for that level of opponent yet. I said this on one of the videos previously. He's only 24. He literally can wait for everyone. In a couple of years, everyone will be gone or right at the end. So you think about it, in a couple of years' time, Fury won't be fighting. I doubt it. AJ, who knows? No Wilder, no Joe Joyce, maybe not even a Usyk, like no Dillian White. Literally all the guys will be gone. All the title contenders will be gone. All the champions will be gone. And then it could just be his division. Don't get me wrong, there are other good young fighters coming up, your Jared Andersons of the world. But he almost could sit around and just pick off the fringe guys, and then right when he's ready, when he's fresh, when he's really good at 26, 27, and then it can be his division. He could honestly do that. So when you look at possible opponents, you're thinking of guys like your Kalnakis for him, your Martin Bacolis as potential opponents, Hughie Fury, Michael Hunter is a bit dangerous, but those type of opponents for him, Chisora maybe. And then once you've got rid of them, and he's got all the potential to get rid of those guys, and then it could be his division. Obviously, there could be a young 19, 20-year-old kid coming up through the ranks that we don't know about yet. But for now, Daniel Dubois has got everything to kind of rule the boxing world, I think, in a couple of years. We don't know where he is mentally yet because we still haven't seen him tested and hurt. But if he can get through that, then obviously we all know the power's there. Edgar Berlanga fought on the weekend as well. He beat Angulo. I want to start by saying this. Berlanga's not the guy. And this is not a dig at him. You know, like Edgar Berlanga was sold on his first 14 fights. I think he knocked everyone out in the first round. And everyone's like, oh my God, there's something there. After that, they put him against, so they've raised the bar just a little bit, and we've already seen the struggles. So literally they've gone from your D and E list guys to your C and B, and already we know there's problems there. He isn't going to be the guy that Top Rank want him to be in terms of someone that's going to continually draw that Puerto Rican market. I think he's Puerto Rican, right? And we know the New York Puerto Rican market is a massive one. He ain't that guy. He ain't that good. I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know if you remove him from headlining shows. I don't know if you really start carefully matchmaking him. He's only had 15, 16 fights, so you don't need to rush. But I already can see, you watch the sport long enough, you know if someone's going to go to the top or not, and he isn't going to be that guy. Honestly, they fuck about and match him with the wrong person, he's getting stopped. They really do. As for the biting, what are you doing? What are we doing? Like how did he not get thrown out for that? And then he kind of laughed and joked about it after in the interview, saying, you know, I was trying to Mike Tyson him. Are we accepting this in boxing? People just want to bite people? I mean, is it not enough that you can use your hands, and if you're a bit smart, you can use your elbows and all that kind of bullshit? You got to bite? Not impressed with his performance, and not impressed by him. So we'll see what Edgar Berlanga could do. Remember, he's in the super middleweight division. I mean, good luck. Good luck, honestly. Let's just see what happens in the next couple of years. Again, he is relatively young. Let's have a quick look at Berlanga. I'm guessing he's about 25. Could be wrong. 25 Berlanga. Let's see what he can do. But the biting thing, I'm not a fan of. I know he's apologised, but I'm sorry, you still did it. I'm not a fan of that biting bullshit at all. Richard Riakporhe fought on the weekend as well. Good result for Richard Riakporhe, stopping Fabio Turchi in the second round. Nice left hook to the body. We were supposed to speak, me and Tony were supposed to speak to Richard Riakporhe today for the DAZN boxing show, which I film in 45 minutes. But unfortunately, Riakporhe can't make it, so we're going to film and speak to him next week. Look, it's a case of what Ben Shalom can deliver now. He's 32, so you've almost just got to go now. Like, go now. Whether it be Bradis, Makabu, or Okoli. Of those three, and there is another world champion, Gulamarian, I think it's the pronunciation of his name. He brings a belt, but maybe he doesn't bring much else to the table. Of those three, Makabu does look like the easiest one on paper. Bradis, I want to say Bradis is too good for Richard Riakporhe, but what are we going to do? You've got to go. Again, Richard Riakporhe is not a 25-year-old that you can just sit on the shelf for a year or so. He's 32. He's got to go now. Okoli's the big fight, but Okoli Riakporhe is not going to happen unless Riakporhe brings a world title to the table. It's just not going to happen. You want a world title. You want two guys unbeaten, two Londoners, two basically heavyweights masquerading as cruiserweights. It'll be fantastic. Let's see. Riakporhe is getting better. He mentioned that he's also doing some things with Robert Garcia. He mentioned Robert Garcia on the interview, didn't he? So look, he's going to get better, but I am concerned that he is 32. So again, it needs to happen now. He looks in fantastic condition. He's not taking too much punishment. If not those guys, I mean, Chris Billiam-Smith, I know they fought before and Riakporhe won. It was a split decision, but that was quite a while back. I think that fight will be a bit more interesting now. Billiam-Smith coming off that good win against Tommy McCarthy. Richard Riakporhe coming off a good win against Fabio Turchi. It would be a good fight. But I think he wants a world title crack. Can he get it next? I'm not quite sure. Let's quickly see what news there is before we wrap, because we need to very quickly. Otto Vollin's promoter, Wilder should fight Otto to prove he's really on his way back. Yeah, it's a good name. It's a good name. I put that picture out on my Twitter page, and I didn't mean to dig Andy Ruiz, but I put a picture of Andy Ruiz. I think this was after he's lost to AJ, and I said, Andy Ruiz has had one fight in 30 months, 3-0. and that fight was Chris Arreola. And it's a fight he struggled in as well. What's going on? I think the obvious answer is he got paid so well in the AJ fights that the hunger's gone. The hunger's gone. I know people said he's been injured. I'm telling you now, regardless of all the excuses people are giving, if he didn't get paid, if he hadn't fought AJ, he would have had about 7 fights in this time, because he would have been hungry still and motivated, wanting to make money, put himself in a position for big fights. He's got the bag. And look, you know, my thing is always get in, get rich, get out. Maybe he's decided, you know what, I've got rich and I'm halfway out, because 1 fight in 30 months is shocking. I mean, AJ ain't much better. AJ's had 2 fights in 30 months, but at least we know AJ's got a fight coming up. There is nothing being spoken about for Ruiz. Ruiz, if you follow him on Twitter, every 3 or 4 months he would tweet, who do you guys want me to fight? Who do you guys want me to fight? He's not fighting anyone. Stop fucking tweeting and get fighting. Josh Kelly faces Peter Kramer on Wasserman card in Liverpool. Never heard of this Kramer. We'll do a bit of digging in a minute. Haney, I don't really take Garcia too serious. Ryan Garcia was my mandatory and we never fought. Obviously, look, Garcia's got good work in front of him in Javier Fortuna. That's a good fight, you know. Don't sleep on that one. Let's see what Garcia can do with Fortuna, and then we can start talking about Garcia versus Haney or anyone else. Edgar Berlanga on fighting Jesse Hart next. If money's right, we make it happen. Cool. This is interesting. Joseph Parker signing with Sky Sports and Boxer. Obviously, look, Sky Sports are paying big money. Big money, I've heard, to secure a lot of this talent. And look, good luck to them. It's risky. They're rolling the dice, but I think Joseph Parker's a good name to get. Obviously, that puts an end, unfortunately, to the Joseph Parker-Joe Joyce fight, which is a shame. But what it does do, it maybe opens up the door for a Huey Fury rematch, or potentially, if Michael Hunter wins, I'd prefer that fight, Michael Hunter versus Joseph Parker, because the Joseph Parker-Huey Fury first fight was a disgrace. Remember, it was on YouTube pay-per-view for a tenner or something. It was awful, absolutely awful. So we'll see. But yeah, big news that one is, I think, for Sky Sports and Boxer, because they don't have that much heavyweight talent. Joseph Parker, for me now, is a top 10 heavyweight, so it's pretty good. A bit here, and we'll end on this one. Pulev, Joshua is nothing special. Usyk would knock him out in rematch. It could happen. Wouldn't surprise me if it did. Do I want it to happen? No. Would if I see AJ get put down by Usyk, I'd scream. That'd be the first thing, but it wouldn't surprise me, because Usyk is special, and for me, he's the pound for pound number 1 on the planet right now. No shame in losing to the pound for pound number 1. If you're fighting the best, I don't really care if you lose. It's when you don't fight the best and you put up shit performances, then there's a concern. If you fight the best and your best is just not good enough, then it is what it is. Peace and love.